Hello, and welcome to another Zato guide. Before we get into the guide, I'd like to respond to some feedback from the previous video and give a little introduction. If you just want to go straight into Zato tech, that is totally fine. Please skip to the time on screen now to get straight into the resummon tech. Still here? Nice. Hello, I am Howie, also known as DanteDemonZ, and I am once again back from the lab with more Zato tech. We just got new buffs, so us negative edge Andes are eating very well tonight. And those buffs are why this video got a bit delayed, as I wanted to wait for the patch in case anything changed. Thankfully, the only changes we got are good. The resummon tech is not only still here, but now has even more depth thanks to the Unsummon speed buff. But before that, I would like to respond to some points and questions made in the comments on my previous video. I appreciate all feedback and the positive response means a lot to me. However, some questions were raised and I will quickly address them. First of all, someone made a good comment about the jump dust Crossup after knockdown. They said, wouldn't using Pierce instead of drills be a better option because it uses less meter? And the answer is, in theory, yes, but in practice, no. And this is why. As you can see, after knockdown, the first hit of Pierce can actually whiff, and in some cases, Eddie will literally just go through the opponent and not hit them at all. You can test this for yourself and see. This is why we use drills in this situation, as the drills do not whiff and are more likely to make them hold the pressure and or mix. Another point made was about my Roman cancel combos. They said, what about ones without Eddie? And my answer is, 99% of the time, you shouldn't have to have any combos without Eddie, as when played optimally, you will always have Eddie gauge. And this video is to help with that and to help use Unsummon better and use your Eddie gauge better. But, just for you, here are some examples of what you can do without Eddie. It is very limited and really is just close /2s2h drill. There is one more piece of feedback I want to address, and that is about notation and inputs. This feedback has been taken into account. At the end of this video, there will be versions of these setups with a full input display and a breakdown for those people that asked for it. However, as for notation, that isn't going to happen. Purely for it being Zato. If it was anyone else, I would 100% do it, but Zato notation literally looks like a full university level dissertation for 1B and B. Here is an example. At the end of the day, I cannot notate exactly how long you need to hold down a button for, and exactly how many pixels on the screen you need to move Eddie across. In a lot of cases, it really is trial and error, and figuring out the timing for yourself. For any other character, I would add notation, but for Zato, I will just be doing input display, slow down, and a hitbox overlay, as that is what I play on. Though if you are a pad player and do want pad help, I once again will link Beautiful Dude's video on tips for that. I really hope this helps, and I appreciate all of your support, and now, on to the resummon tech. As some of you may have seen from my last video, I actually did show a little bit of this tech, as it had just been discovered. However, since then it has evolved massively and has now been used by many top Japanese Zatos, as well as NA and EU Zatos. In fact, Macho, one of the best Zatos in NA, recently used it in the top 8 of EVO NA. This is game changing, and this use of Eddie is so essential to an optimal Zato game plan that I had to make a full video just for it. So what is it? It is unsummoning Eddie and maintaining your turn. So in most cases, unsummoning Eddie mid-combo or before the end of a combo to refill your Eddie gauge. The easiest way to do this mid-screen is to replace situations where you'd be doing a frog loop with a single drill before unsummoning and then going into whatever ender you prefer. But as you may know already, you can also do it after one frog if you want to sacrifice something like your usual double frog loop counter hit combos for Eddie gauge and setup instead without having to spend meter. Here are some examples of how you would use this as part of your game plan in a mid-screen situation. As you can see, this makes Zato very scary, as for the small sacrifice of your usual damage ender, you can get Eddie back with full gauge for no meter whatsoever. And you can make your game plan much more oppressive in general. Think that was cool? Guess what? You can do it in the corner too. And even now as I'm writing this script, there are probably new uses for it in the corner being discovered. You can really experiment and create your own way with this. The corner use of this works a little different. You need to put the opponent up high, usually with a root into 2H, and then once again, get one drill and unsummon, then catch them before they land to continue the combo. Usually with 2S or 2H. This is going for a corner combo, using Eddie and literally unsummoning him before the end of the combo. And guess what? Pretty much any corner route or confirm can go into this, you just have to lab it and then figure it out. Overhead, low, whatever starter, if you can get them high enough on that drill, you can refill your gauge for free. But it gets better. Latif, a top Zato, also an Evo champion in Guilty Gear Accent Core back in the day, as well as some Street Fighter IV Evo placements, actually found a new layer to this post the Zato buffs we got. And that is unsummoning, but then resummoning into Frog and then unsummoning again. Yes, you can unsummon Eddie twice before breaking the wall, meaning you don't even need to go into Sword Super to get your Eddie meter back. As it is already back, so you can go for meterless Ender or go for the more damaging super that you wouldn't usually go for as it doesn't refill your Eddie gauge. So what about outside of combos? Can this new Unsummon buff be used for new pressure situations? The answer is yes. A fellow lab monster called Whatever Dude 151 found the answer. If you are at the right distance and unsummon after Frog Leap fast enough, you can get guaranteed pressure, and not only that, you can punish them for trying to jab or mash using your 6H. As you can see, if the AI tries to mash 5p after the Frog unsummon, the 6H will counter hit and lead to big damage. This works if they try and mash after the unsummon in the corner too, and well, I think the damage speaks for itself here. You can bait DPs with this as well. This would work on Soul's DP, Leo's flash kick. You can really condition the opponent not to mash on you and respect you. And now we show it on Chip, purely because he has a super fast 5p. Totally not because I want to show you all some massive damage. Of course, we have to do the max risk gauge Chip Twitter clip as well. And on a high health character like Potemkin with no risk gauge. And now, with risk gauge. I hope showcasing this can help improve your Zato game plan. However, if you still feel you need a bit more of an explanation and help on the execution required to do so, don't worry, I got you. At the end of this video there will be an input display and slowdown to give some extra help to those who need it. To those who don't, or who just want to stay for the outro, I want to thank you all for supporting my content, and say what will be coming next in terms of content. The plan is to release in-depth matchup guides, learning everything about how to approach and deal with the rest of the roster. I will learn each character in depth and show everything on how to beat them, all gaps, frame data, gimmicks, how to play the matchup, and so on. I would have already started on this, but again I was waiting until the patch day to see the changes, as I didn't want to make any out-of-date content. As to what matchup guides they will be, most likely I'll start with the harder matchups of Zato, though I do intend to make a matchup guide for every character in the cast. And if there's a character a lot of people struggle with, then feel free to let me know in the comments so we can go straight to that one. I know many of us struggle with Axel, and I know that Macho before the patch recently said Chip is Zato's worst matchup, but I personally disagree, especially after the patch where Chip got a bit nerfed. I definitely think Axel is our worst matchup. Some of you may have seen me recently get bodied by Leffen's Chip on his stream. It is hard, but I do not hate it, especially since the changes in the patch. Same with Soul. I know Ogawa and a lot of top Zatos in Japan say Soul is the worst. I personally don't feel that uncomfortable in the matchup pre-patch, and once again I think it is easier since the nerfs. For me personally, I struggle a lot with characters like Ram, Axel, Nago and Leo. So they probably will be the videos I make first. Unless people in the comments have a clear preference, then we can go to that one. Whenever people are struggling with the most is the one we'll go on to first. But before I make matchup guides for each of the cast, there is actually a possibility for me to make some stuff on Jacko if anyone would be interested, as she is a set play character with minions, so you know I've already been labbing her. Please let me know in the comments if you want to see Jacko stuff, or do you rather just go straight into more Zato gaming content. Now for people who don't want to see slowed down or input versions of the Zato tech shown, I thank you very much for watching and hope you have a lovely day. For landing the single drill into resummon midscreen, you have to make sure that you do not release the 2H before you release K, and to unsummon instantly before any more drills appear, otherwise you will not get the setup and not get your meter back, as more drills will deplete your gauge. While getting the 2H into the single drill unsummon in the corner, you will want to make sure the opponent you are juggling is as high as possible, and you will also want to dash in and make sure Zato is as close to the wall as possible. Getting the 2S after the drill unsummon is a timing that will require practice, but you should be able to land it consistently after you get the timing down. When confirming Eddie Pierce into the unsummon setup in the corner, you will want to wait until after the second hit of the punches land before you 2S and then 2H. And make sure that you do not release H before you release the K for the drill. For the Tief's double unsummon route, you will once again want to make sure that you are close to the wall as possible, and to unsummon after the drill as quickly as possible, as getting a 2H after is quite tight. However, if you can get that part down, the rest is easy. The timing for unsummoning the frog isn't as tight, and you can go into whatever ender you prefer. Now for some advice I wish someone had told me involving flight cancels and jump in pressure. You do not want to input jump and then dash in the air. You'll want to input diagonally in the direction you want to go twice, so 9-9 or 7-7 in notation form. This is the most optimal way to do this and keeps you closest to the ground, and this is something you'll need to be able to do if you want to get decent confirms off of counter hit 6H. When using the frog unsummon mid-screen, you want to send the frog from the furthest distance possible for it to work properly and be legitimate. To get this, you will input the Eddie summon while also holding slash. Move Eddie as far as you can and then release slash and input the Unsummon as fast as you can. And then afterwards you can just mash the 6H, to be honest. For the corner, you will also need to take into account the distance from the opponent, as once again, if you are too close, it will not be legitimate. The ideal spacing for this is around 2 backdashes from the opponent when fully against the wall. I once again want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video, and maybe in Twitch or Twitter or on other social media. Thank you for all your support.